I'm so excited to welcome you to Lucky Dog Animal Rescue's South Carolina Rescue Campus. This is the Verstandig Family Foundation's veterinary clinic. Let's go for a tour. This is the reception area. It's where animals will enter the clinic and be greeted by Lucky Dog staff. So we head this way. We have the laundry area. As you can imagine, a veterinary clinic generates a lot of laundry. And here we have the future site of our exam room. And in here we have our x-ray equipment. We actually had a dog getting an x-ray just this morning. Heading down this hallway, we first have the pharmacy. All the medications that keep our lucky dogs and cats healthy. We have our weight scale here to make sure that all of the animals have accurate weights. And then in this room, we have the cages for animals that are waiting for veterinary care, waiting for surgery. So it is our surgery prep room. On this side of the hallway, we have the rest of the prep area. This is a wet table where we can do dental procedures for dogs and cats. And in here we have our operating room. The operating room has 2 tables that can be run simultaneously so that we can do high volume spay and neuter. On this side of the room, we have our recovery cages, and we have 2 of our patients here right now. This is little Tatum. Poor Tatum had to have an eye removed, and she only had 1.5 teeth left, so she now is a toothless wonder cat. Down here, we have Natalia. Natalia is a husky mix who's not feeling so good, so she had some x-rays today. This is the Layzen Animal Foundation Infectious Care Unit, and it is named after the amazing Terry Layzen, who dedicated her life to saving animals. The ICU is designed so that when staff enter, they will go right into our restroom area, where we have a full shower and things if people do need to get cleaned off after taking care of animals in this building. But the idea is that you wear a different set of clothes inside the building, different shoes, different everything, so that you don't cross-contaminate either outside the property or even between the separate treatment pods. There are 4 separate pods in the ICU, each of which has its completely separate HVAC system, so that means that the air does not go between pod A and B, C and D. Each of the pods also has its own sink, a place where they can get rid of animal waste. And then the centralized area, if we walk over here, is going to be where we make the food, get everything ready, get medicines ready. We have some food station over here, sink, refrigerator, and then in here we have the washer dryer for any of the linens, towels, things that are used specifically for the animals in the ICU. So anything that comes into the ICU will get used in the ICU and not leave again. Here we already have 3 residents, or guests as we like to call them, of the ICU. This is Little Joe. Little Joe is being treated for a contagious type of mange called scabies. You can see he's got a lot of hair loss, but he actually looks a lot better than he did when he first arrived with us. And then down on this end, we have 2 puppies that are in quarantine. They haven't had all their vaccines yet. They've just gotten their first vaccine. It's P and Penelope, and they're waiting to make sure that they don't have exposure to any diseases that might spread throughout the transfer kennels. You'll notice this blue wall. This is a visual barrier. This is meant to prevent cage aggression or frustration from dogs or cats looking at each other across the way. So that's why we have this somewhat random wall. And then on this side, we have our ICU kennels. So these kennels will be where animals are receiving fluids and really having that intensive care. They will start in these kennels and then they will graduate to the runs if they are well enough to have that additional space and aren't having active IVs or other sorts of treatments. You may find it strange that we have a toilet in the middle of an ICU pod for dogs and cats, and no, we don't expect our animals to actually use the toilet, but it is a really effective way to get rid of waste that might have contamination within them. So the waste in these units will be placed in the toilet and disposed of. As I mentioned inside, each of the separate pods has its own HVAC system so that none of the air circulates and we don't spread infectious disease between the different treatment pods. As I like to joke, this thing could power an airplane. The property is almost 22 acres, and it can house as many buildings as we eventually want to build. So really the sky is the limit with respect to what this property could mean for rescuing animals, not just here in South Carolina, but throughout the regional South. We're really excited to make this a resource for the entire region. This is Stopover Station. These are the kennels that dogs will stay in while they're waiting from the shelter before they get to go on transport and come to the DC metro area to find their forever homes. So really it's just a brief little stopover, and most animals will only be here for about 2 weeks. The kennels in Stopover Station are double-sided. So what that means is that there's a front side and a back side, and the animals can have double space if you lift the door between them. Or if we have a ton of animals that need a place to stay, we can make them into smaller kennels and double our capacity in terms of size. Each of the kennels is going to have a Kuranda bed, bowls, all of that stuff, but as you can see, you can absolutely donate a bed or donate bowls or sponsor a kennel by providing the financial support that we need to keep the animal that lives in that kennel for however long they live there, full of food, water, medicine, etc. So there's lots of ways that you can help support the animals that have a stay in Stopover Station. This is our larger play yard. It was sponsored as a gift on behalf of Anya Coleman. This play yard is where our animals will get a chance to roughhouse and play and get their energy out. We'll be running official play groups under the supervision of staff and volunteers. And we've got a couple of dogs out there right now enjoying the sunshine and the freedom and the ability to spend some time with their fellow buddies. The Ring Room Treatment Building is sponsored by the J.R. Peterson Foundation, and this little building has 2 separate rooms inside of it where we can treat cats in particular, but occasionally dogs and puppies that are affected with ringworm. Ringworm is a super treatable fungus, which unfortunately often results in shelters euthanizing animals because they don't have the capacity to provide the long length of care, but we can do that here. The Ringworm building has 2 separate rooms so that animals can come in and get through part of treatment, and then as they progress and no longer have such a heavy level of infection, any new animals can go into the other room so that we don't re-expose anyone that's in recovery. So that's why there are these 2 separate rooms, and each one can be completely shut so that we don't spread the hairs from one side to the other, making the ringworm more contagious. Thank you so much for joining us on this virtual tour of Lucky Dog Animal Rescue South Carolina Rescue Campus. If you want to be part of this amazing experience, you can make a donation at the link below. Every dollar we raise saves lives of animals that wouldn't make it out of shelters without your support. Let's bring them here. Let's get them homes. Thank you.